up, Bears? Let's get going. I got my ScreenFlow tool ready to record our quick lesson today. We're going to keep it short. Mondays are a big day. Every other day we should try to keep to 5 minutes. Let's first start off with our slideshows. If you have not opened up your ancient technology yet, let's get that done. We need the ancient technology slideshows to be up and running. Emma's looks fantastic. These slideshows this week are not going to be about writing a CER. Notice the FIST format is also for stories. So this FIST format this week, write a strong introduction to your story. Grab your reader with a cool character and a setting, and then walk through your story and use the 5 steps to make a great story. So while this 5-step process is great for essays, 5-sentence, 5-paragraph, but it's also excellent like a 5-act play. You meet your character and you find out what their adventure is. You go on the adventure, and in this case, we want to tell about the tool and tell the character we're going to meet back in ancient times. Then we want to describe the setting. Tell us about are they in that cave we learned about? Are they in the forest? Are they in the desert? What's their setting? What are the people like? How do they live? What kind of animals have they domesticated? And then, of course, you've got to train them up and explain the technology that you brought back. Bow and arrow, something to help with gardening, maybe some jewelry, maybe some religious things to help them do some religious ceremonies. Anything you want. What technology did you bring back, but it cannot have electricity? And finally, you've got to get back home. So then you come back home, maybe the classroom, your bedroom, wherever you started your journey, and you see how the world was changed from your technology that you took back in time. I've spelled it all out in groups. The bottom line, you're writing a fun, short story, about 5 slides long. Intro, get the adventure going. You can be the main character if you want. You can come up with a main character and just make it interesting, but make sure we talk about the setting of where they're going. What kind of technology did they have? What are you doing to upgrade their technology, like making the bow and arrow or a spear or something like that better, and then getting back home. It's a fun adventure story. Where are you going to get your information? Well, from your slides that we did yesterday. You should have these done. If not, get these done first. One of these people could be your character. You can look at this picture and describe, as I landed in the woods, I saw something that looked like a teepee, but it wasn't very fancy. They had dogs lying around. The women were working on clothes from animal hides. So there you go, there's one of your stories. Maybe you go to this famous cave and you talk about the animals you see there. Look at the primitive weapon they had. How could you make that weapon better? Maybe you could turn that into a bow and arrow. Maybe you could teach them how to ride a horse by creating saddles and domesticating animals. The ice ages, maybe where you land is at the end of the ice age and you teach them how to build a better house. Or maybe you help them with fire or how to carry fire. This is very cool images right here. Maybe you teach them how to tame these elephants, mammoths, and maybe they're still around because of that today, because of your time travel and change. Well, that's kind of a good idea. Agricultural revolution. Look at this. This is a tool. This is technology. Maybe you teach them a better technology so suddenly when we get to today, there's no more starvation on the planet because we actually changed time back then. Look at their houses. You can come up with all kinds of ideas. If you like jewelry, maybe you change their jewelry. Maybe you teach them how to wear shirts. All kinds of fun ideas. Good slideshow by him. Neolithic economy. Oh, maybe you talk about money. Maybe you tell them that gold is heavy and you teach them about paper money. Or maybe you come up with a new system of banking for economics. That'd be a great one. Look at these tools here, great. Whole jewelry line. Don't forget to look at maps and kind of say where you're gonna land when you go back in time. Great slideshow. Neolithic religion. If you're a religious person, maybe you want to go back and tell them about your religion. Everybody has different religions, and if you want to practice learning about yours, you could go back and teach the Neolithic people about your religion, whether it's Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Catholic, whatever you want. That would be a fun story. And then finally, let's see, historic fiction. This tells us the type of writing we're doing. Bronze Age politics. Remember, when you get there, do they have a queen? Is there a lady in charge? Is it a group of people like elders that meet in a tent and say, what's this person who has come into our land? We must vote whether we will listen to them in their new technology. Or maybe maybe everybody's in charge. Maybe it's like a communal society where there's no real boss. What's the politics like there? That's a great way to go. And then of course writing. Maybe you bring writing back. Maybe you teach them how to have a pencil. Maybe you teach them about paper or pencils or how to use hides. That would change the world. Or maybe you just discuss the writing that you see, or maybe they don't even have writing yet. Very good stuff there. Excellent motivation from Emma's slideshow. I got a lot of ideas there. That's awesome. If yours is not open yet, get it open. And my computer's not really working right now. I think some of them aren't loading, but that's okay. All right, guys, where is it all at? As usual, write in groups, the written version of everything I just said. What you're going to do is you're going to come in here, you're going to read this. Each one of these, you're going to copy, and you're going to paste into a new slide. So you're going to take this one, and that's going to be your first new slide. I'm going to copy it. And let's go ahead and do Emma's since hers is actually open. And these are going to be at the top. Our story is going to be at the top. So this stuff can all get moved. But let's make a new slide first. Any one you want. Let's go with title and body. And then you just copy that. Now these are your directions. So I actually put it in the wrong place. But these are your directions for the start of your story. And if you read that, it says, let's do that again. Let's put it here. If you read that, it says, who is your main character that will take you back, that you will take the technology back to change history? Where do they live right now? What is their life like? How do they go back in time? Like, how does your character go back in time? And how is your character right now? So your story starts with, so there Mr. Downs was doing his video about ancient civilization. And he was thinking, man, it sure would help them if they had horses. So he wanted to go back and teach them how to domesticate the horse and how to make a saddle so they could actually ride the horse thousands of years before they actually did. Well, just as he was thinking that, he saw a flash of light out his window. But before he could even look, boom, he was gone. He wasn't in his room anymore. There he was in the cave of Lascaux Caves. He remembered teaching this in history, and he looked about. Where am I? And what he couldn't believe is the saddle that he had made was sitting next to him. Somehow he had been transported back in time with the very saddle. He must have a job to do. It must be to domesticate the horse. He came out of the cave nervous and scared when suddenly he heard, "Aha!" He turned around. Who was it? There your story begins. And then you come back and you make a new slide and you copy the next one. What is your technology? Describe it. So I would describe the saddle, and then you go through your 5 steps. So create a slide for each one of these. These are your directions to help you. How do the people live? What kind of adventure do you get on? And then the last slide would be when you come back to, or here, all of a sudden Mr. Downs back, I did my story, I got chased by a caveman, Neanderthals tried to kill me, I taught them how to use a saddle, they all did a saddle, and then I come back in time, and I go look out, and instead of a car in my driveway, there's a floating spaceship. But because I jumped transportation technology, and I brought that so far back, that changed transportation forever, that instead of just a regular car, we now have flying cars. The end. So that's what you're doing today. So we're going to get started on your stories. Do not have to write the whole story today. We're just getting started. Let's try to do one part of your story each day. And then Friday, we'll wrap it all up and we'll read some of your stories. A good goal is, I think we have 5 slides here. Let's take a look. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 5 or 6 slides there. 5 sentences, maybe 10. and a picture is all you need each slide. We don't need, if you want to go write a big giant one later and use this as your beginning of some epic story you're going to sell to a book publisher, that's great. But for now, we want 5 to 7 sentences per slide and 5 to 7 slides and some pictures to help tell your story. And that's all we need. Today's Tuesday. For the most part, we can do 1 slide a day and we'll have our epic story done. And you get all your information from your slideshow research. Let's do this. Here we go.